all black. Everything black. Yeah, I'm just saying. Black skin, black woman, black children.
Copy. Mandingo Theory.
Hey, my people, go ahead and get your book with Mandingo Theory.
I went out and got your copy of Mandingo Theory. You need to get yours, because I got mine.
Go get your copy of the Mandingo Theory.
Be sure to get your copy of Mandingo Theory.
Hey guys, get your copy of Mandingo Theory today.
Mandingo Theory by Kofi Peace. Get yours. I got mine. This is definitely a must read.
Go out and get your copy of the Mandingo Theory.
Go out and get your copy of Mandingo Theory.
Get you a copy of the Mandingo Theory, the castration of Africans and the sex craze conceptualization.
Welcome to the all-black family, brother. We gon' get paid, make money, and get into the continent. If you ain't paying dues, fuck your accomplishment.
They got their copy. Get your copy of Mandingo Theory today.
Over that was the so-called apocalypse, and all we have now is bad revelations on top of it. Brainwashed with the germs from a dirty mob. They make us out to be the bad guys. Fuck it. Shit! Hey, y'all, give me the motherfucking chainsaw, blood. This motherfucker whooped the straight. What's up now, motherfucker? These niggas ain't bigger than me. These niggas ain't Nas, ain't Jigger than me. These niggas ain't M, they ain't 50 to me. You ain't Pun, you ain't Pac, you ain't Biggie to me. These niggas ain't Crips, they ain't 60s to me. These niggas ain't Bloods, they ain't dripping with me. Niggas talking that shit by the new generation, man. Fuck these niggas, I slash your fucking faces. You niggas ain't so shit, not an album or a rock. Pussy nigga putting rings on my old bitch. Dick down the throat ass niggas, old hoe ass niggas. Happy cause you went gold ass niggas. These niggas ain't spitting with me. You ain't sicker than me. Fuck out my section, you ain't sitting with me. This for very important people. It's clear that we not equal. Clear you niggas faggots. I'm the Black Marshall Matt. Like yin 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 on a motherfucker. Who needs Hulk Hogan when you got Sting on this motherfucker? Less than 5 albums, kiss the ring on this motherfucker. California throne and I'm the king on this motherfucker. I don't wanna hear it. Weak ass lyrics, crying on the hook, thinking we gon' feel it. Old lost ass niggas, voice crack when you talk ass nigga, rolling blunts for the boss ass niggas. I came in with Ye, Jeezy and boss ass niggas. Your freshman cover a whole bunch of soft ass niggas. Tampon lyricists evacuate the premises. Mute BET ciphers cause I don't wanna hear that shit. May you rest in piss, you fuck niggas. Hey Frank Ocean, go ahead, fuck these fuck niggas. Yeah, they fuck niggas. Ain't no 3 stacks in your class, so take your top 10 spot and shove it up your ass, bitch boy. Niggas already fucked your bitch, you bitch boy. And every time you kiss on that hoe, you suck my dick, you bitch boy. And when you buy that hoe a bag, that bitch carry my bricks, you bitch boy.
All right, peace everybody. We live, man. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we live. The reason that we're here, I'm gonna keep it short, sweet, and simple, is because I was listening to a video earlier this morning, upload from the bar, reloaded or whatever they call themselves. And in the video, they started Black History Month off telling an origin story about Yacub and all his pseudoscience. But she called Yacub, or they called Yacub, the big head scientist. So there was a problem right there. So there's 2 problems in one. First, you start Black History Month off talking about Yacub and all the bull junk rhetoric that the NOI teachings are. And then you double back and you call them the big head scientists in the title. So there's some pushback there within that. First of all, I want to make my argument clear to everybody right now. This video was not a Black History Month video. The reason that I say that it's not a Black History Month video, I am going to argue that with my information that I have available for you. It is up to you, excuse me. It is up to you, the viewer, to come to your own conclusion, right? About if it is Black history, if it's not Black history. I'm not here to make up your mind. I'm gonna say it again. I am here to argue against something that I strongly feel, right, based on evidence, I strongly feel is not Black history, nor is it science, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you why with evidence in my argument. I'm not going to talk you to death. So before we get started, the first thing that we want to do is we want to review the tape. So without no interruptions, no breakthroughs, let's go take a look at our good sister Honeypot video. Now the video is only 4 minutes long. I'm gonna play it twice. I'm gonna play it once to get your attention. I'm gonna play it twice so you can understand what she said, because you might miss something.
DOJ confirmed Ezekiel's will. I can change the world like Yacub with 2 pieces of steel.
Ever wonder what Jay Electronica was referring to? Let's learn about it today. Hello, welcome to Black History Month with the Bar Reloaded. Today I'm going to introduce a piece of African American mythology and religion. Yacub is the big head scientist. In this story, Yacub was a scientist that lived around 6,600 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub because he was said to have had a large head and he was very arrogant. When he was 6 years old, Yacub was playing with steel magnets and learned the law of attraction. This is where he got the idea of creating a new people that would attract others with tricks and lies and rule over the original black man. By the age of 18, he had graduated from all schools of knowledge in Mecca, and he hadn't forgotten his plan. He had learned that the black man contained 2 germs, a black germ and a brown germ. And he figured that he may be able to make a lighter complected people through selective breeding. I said selective breeding there, and I should have said grafting because they used the word grafting in a significant later in like part 2. So just remember grafting, but it's like selective breeding. Back to his plan. With 59,999 followers, he went to Patmos and began his plan. He had strict rules. He killed all the darker babies and created an all-brown race after 200 years. They were said to have gone and become the Japanese. And after 200 more years, there were a yellow race, which became the Chinese. And then finally after that, 200 more years, the white race was born. Unfortunately, Yacub died at the age of 150, so he never got to see the end of his plan. The white race was said to be born in such brutal conditions, lying and around murder and hatred for blacks, that it was said that it was born right into them, that they would be liars and murderers as well. The new race traveled to Mecca where they were tyrants, and they were exiled to Europe, as it was called then West Asia. Soldiers were put there to make sure that they didn't leave. They ate raw meat and lived like savages in caves. Moses came and tried to civilize them, making them wear clothes and live with people. He blew up 300 of them who seemed to not be able to cope with civil life. The devil's history is told in the Bible. That is what that story is. And they rose to power, and with the help of one Sir John Hawkins, was able to enslave the original man and bring him to America in 1555. I'm going to stop now to where we get to the shores of the United States. This is just part of the doctrine of the NOI. It was brought to us by Farah Muhammad. I showed some of the people who also follow this doctrine, like Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and most recently, Jay Electronica. We'll be doing a part 2 and 3 where we can learn more about the NOI as well this month in Black History. Enjoy this. Coming to you straight from Cleveland.
All right, so y'all heard her first, so I'm gonna run it back again. And you see in the chat, she says that this is Black history. She said this is not Black. She said this is African American history. All right, so real quick, just a little teaching moment right here. Make sure to remove the title text here off your screen. You did a great job of. You're getting better at this. You did a great job of, putting your screens together, your screen shares together, and all of that, and trying to incorporate your stuff and talking over it and slide showing it in the whole 9 yards. You did a really good job of that. But little before you put it all together, do one last little run. We're all not perfect, so this is not no shade. Just make sure that you can get rid of the title text here, and you good. So again, let's hear it one more time.
American mythology and religion. Yacub is the big head scientist. In this story, Yacub was a scientist that lived around 6,600 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub because he was said to have had a large head and he was very arrogant. When he was 6 years old, Yacub was playing with steel magnets and learned the law of attraction. This is where he got the idea of creating a new people that would attract others with tricks and lies and rule over the original black man. By the age of 18, he had graduated from all schools of knowledge in Mecca, and he hadn't forgotten his plan. He had learned that the black man contained two germs, a black germ and a brown germ. And he figured that he may be able to make a lighter complected people through selective breeding. I said selective breeding there, and I should have said grafting because they used the word grafting in a significant later in like part 2. So just remember grafting, but it's like selective breeding. Back to his plan. With 59,999 followers, he went to Patmos and began his plan. He had strict rules. He killed all the darker babies and created an all-brown race after 200 years. They were said to have gone and become the Japanese. And after 200 more years, there were a yellow race, which became the Chinese. And then finally after that, 200 more years, the white race was born. Unfortunately, Yacub died at the age of 150, so he never got to see the end of his plan. The white race was said to be born in such brutal conditions, lying and around murder and hatred for blacks, that it was said that it was born right into them, that they would be liars and murderers as well. The new race traveled to Mecca where they were tyrants, and they were exiled to Europe, as it was called then West Asia. Soldiers were put there to make sure that they didn't leave. They ate raw meat and lived like savages in caves. Moses came and tried to civilize them, making them wear clothes and live with people. He blew up 300 of them who seemed to not be able to cope with civil life. The devil's history is told in the Bible. That is what that story is. And they rose to power, and with the help of one Sir John Hawkins, was able to enslave the original man and bring him to America in 1555. I'm going to stop now so where we get to the shores of the United States. This is just part of the doctrine of the NOI. It was brought to us by Farah Muhammad. I showed some of the people who also follow this doctrine, like Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and most recently, J Electronica. We'll be doing a part 2 and 3 where we can learn more about the NOI as well this month in Black History. Enjoy this video. Straight from Cleveland. You don't want to be.
All right, so that's from my dear sister Honey Pot up in the Chizat. So let me go ahead real quick and let me define something for her while she's paying attention. As you can see highlighted right here, this is a wiki article for the definition of history. Okay, it says history derived from ancient Greek, historia, inquiry, knowledge acquired by investigation. Okay, is the systemic, listen to this very closely, is the systemic study and documentation of human activity. The time period of events before the invention of writing systems is considered prehistory. History is an umbrella term comprising past events as well as the memory, discovery, collections, organizations, presentations, and interpretations of these events. Historians seek knowledge of the past using historical sources such as written documents, oral accounts, art and material artifacts, and ecological markers. History is not complete and it still has debatable mysteries. Let me continue. History is also an academic discipline which uses narrative to describe, examine, question, and analyze past events and investigate their patterns of cause and effect. Historians often debate which narrative best explains an event, as well as the significance of different causes and effects. Historians also debate the nature of history as an end in itself, as well as its usefulness to give perspective on the problems of the present. Now, stories common to a particular culture but not supported by external sources, such as tales surrounding King Arthur, are usually classified, listen to this, classified as cultural heritage or legends. History differs from what myth in that it's supported by verifiable evidence. Now, I can stop right there to clear the argument altogether. This is not Black history. A myth has nothing to do with Black history, right? So I'm going to go a little bit further in my argument to demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about. I can continue reading if you would like for me to, but it says clearly again, history differs from myth in that it is supported by verifiable evidence. What you brought forth on the first day of Black History Month was myth. Yacub. You called Yacub, and I didn't make this up. You called Yacub in your video, Yacub, the big head scientist, African American origin story. And you highlighted it Black History Month. So this is just another little easy to do cleanup job for the pseudo slayer. Now, history differs from myth in that it is supported by verifiable evidence. However, ancient cultural influences have helped spawn variant interpretations of the nature of history, which have evolved over the centuries and continue to change today. The modern study of history is wide-ranging and includes the study of specific regions and the study of certain topical and thematic elements of historical investigation. History is often taught as a part of a primary and secondary education, and the academic study of history is a major discipline in university studies. Let me stop right there so I can go ahead and strengthen the argument. All right? So let me give you a definition of science from the Science Council. Okay? Science is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of natural and social world following a systemic methodology based on evidence. The Yacub origin story is not based on a systemic methodology that is based on evidence. Has nothing to do with the natural world. There was many pseudoscientific claims in the Yacub big head scientist story. Also, the origin story can't be an African American story because the NOI believes that they are the Asiatic black man. They have no affiliation with an African American man. They believe that they descend from an Asiatic black man. Asiatic being a key word, not African, Asiatic. They don't identify. They think they come from a place non-African in its origin, and then they go on to try to change things up and make it fill blanks and all this, that, and the third. But the key word to their core beliefs is Asiatic. Still, that has nothing. Their belief system has nothing to do with Black history. Black history is about moments and times, movements, right? Absolutely, the NOI has birthed some of the greatest, we're going to call Malcolm X, right? We're going to call him one of the greatest leaders of our times. We all honor and respect what Brother Malcolm X has done during his time with the NOI. But his work has nothing to do with the belief, the myth. It has nothing to do with that. That's not a part of the history. That is a teaching and doctrine of a belief that ain't affiliated with us. What is affiliated with us is the work and the effort that Malcolm X put forth to liberate and fight oppression. Liberate blacks, fight oppression against whites. So let me be a little bit more clear in my argument. I want to be fair. I want to go back and I want to let you show me where this is Black history. Okay? Show me where this is Black history.
Bar Reloaded. Today I'm going to introduce a piece of African American mythology and religion. Yacub is the big head scientist. In this story, Yacub was a scientist that lived around 6,600 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub because he was said to have had a large head.
Hold on. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself.
Yacub was a scientist that lived around 66.
Who is Yacub? Who is Yacub?
Yacub is the big head scientist. In this,
what is Yacub? Who is Yacub?
In this story, Yacub was.
No. Who is Yacub? Who is Yacub?
Yacub is the big head scientist. In this story, Yacub was a scientist that lived around 6,600 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black.
Listen to yourself. Where was he? Where was he? Listen to this.
Shabazz.
What is he? Who is he affiliated with?
He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz.
He was what?
He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz.
He was what?
100 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz.
How is that African American history if he was born in Mecca and was a member of the tribe of Shabazz? That's not African American history. That's not Black History Month. That is Asiatic History Month. Why are we teaching this during Black History Month? This is not a part of us. This is not African American culture. You can try to assimilate it into culture, but you cannot say this is history. This is not history, and it damn sure ain't science. which you said this ain't science, you know what I'm saying? But you call Yacub in your video the big head scientist. But he's telling you, you talking about this is the African American origin story. How the hell does an African American origin story start in Mecca?
Years ago, he was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz.
You say here that he was born in Mecca and was a member of the tribe of Shabazz.
600 years ago, he was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub.
At this time, the world only had who?
Man on it. He was called Big Head of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub because he was said to have had a large head and he was very arrogant.
And you have a large head and you're very arrogant because you can't take correction this evening. Because you took mythology and tried to make it history when they're clearly not the same. And I was trying to tell you that. When you talk about history, right? What was the greatest accomplishments that the NOI has done for Black people? What is that? What did they do? That would be historical. That we would need to remember them, honor them during Black History Month. This ain't it. And I don't think we're going to be able to find it. Now, it's okay to talk about the NOI during Black History Month. Why? Because this happened before and the whole argument in the community broke out when somebody wanted to talk about the NOI during Black History Month. Because people were being pacifists, people were being apologists, people were trying to uplift and do all of these things, but they were doing it wrong. Similar to what you're doing right now. But hold on, let me let you finish one more time. Tell us about Yacub. Where Yacub from?
With the bar reloaded. Today I'm going to introduce a piece of African American mythology and religion. Yacub was the big head scientist. In this story, Yacub was a scientist that lived around 6,600 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub because he was said to have had a large head and he was very arrogant. When he was 6 years old, Yacub was playing with steel magnets and learned the law of attraction. This is where he got the idea of creating a new people that would attract others with tricks and lies and rule over the original black man.
This is not African American history. This is not Black history. It's not. Okay? It's not. And it's okay, because we're all here to learn, and hopefully you can take the correction and you can come off your high horse just a little bit, and you know what I mean, just kind of take the teaching. So it's disrespectful to Carter G. Woodson because that was not his intent and purpose. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, all of my sources are in the description of the video. If you would like to, feel free to obtain those sources for your own reading, recollection, and understanding. I do share my sources. So, this crusade is much more important than the anti-lynching movement because there would be no lynching if it did not start in the schoolroom. Carter G. Woodson. On February 7th, 1926, Carter G. Woodson initiated the first celebration of Negro History Week, which led to the Black History Month. To extend independent study, listen to me, the bar reloaded, aka Honeypot. To extend and deepen the study, I'm gonna highlight it for you. To extend and deepen the study and scholarship of African American history all year long. Further below is an essay on the history and purpose of the commemoration, including why Woodson chose February. Now, just bear with me one moment. Let me take my cinnamon bunt rolls out of the oven. They're smelling really delicious, right? And I got to take them out of the oven right here. I'm not going to hit them with that homemade icing of mine, but I'm just going to take it out because I got to get into this for educational purposes for the bar reloaded. Miss Honeypot, it's going down. Good thing that I'm right here by the oven. Look. Now, back to our regular scheduled program. I could not move because history had me glued to the seat. It felt like Sojourner Truth's hand were pushing me down on the shoulders and Harriet Tubman's hands were pushing me down on another shoulder, and I could not move. For more on Woodson, read Fugitive Pedagogy, Carter G. Woodson and the Art of Black Teaching, and visit the Carter G. Woodson Home National Historic Site National Park Service at the statue of Washington, D.C. This story is written by Daryl Michael Scott. Carter G. Woodson chose February for Negro History Week for reasons of tradition and reform. It is commonly said that Woodson selected February to encompass the birthdays of two great Americans who played a prominent role in shaping Black history, namely Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, whose birthdays were the 12th and the 14th, respectively. More importantly, he chose them for the reasons of tradition. Since Lincoln's assassination in 1865, the Black community, along with the Republicans, have been celebrating the fallen president's birthday. And since the late 1890s, Black communities across the country had been celebrating Douglass. Well aware of the pre-existing celebrations, Woodson built Negro History Week around traditional days of commemorating the Black past. The Black past. Commemorating the Black past. He was asking the public to extend their study of Black history, not to create a new tradition. In doing so, he increased his chances for success. Yet Woodson was up to something more than building on tradition. Without saying so, he aimed to reform it from the study of two great men to a great race. Though he admired both men, Woodson had never been fond of celebrations held in their honor. He railed against the ignorant spellbenders who addressed large convivial gatherings and displayed their lack of knowledge about men and their contributions to history, similar to what the Bar Method Reloaded has done. Your lack of knowledge about the men and their contributions to history. More importantly, Woodson believed that history was made by the people, not simply or primarily by great men. He envisioned the study and celebration of Negro as a race, not simply as the producers of a great man. And Lincoln, however great, had not freed slaves. The Union, including hundreds of thousands of Black soldiers and sailors, had done that. Rather than focusing on two men, the Black community, he believed, should focus on the countless Black men and women who had contributed to the advance of human civilization. Let me zoom in real quick. Does the Yacub story contribute to the advance of the human civilization? Let's keep it a buck. From the beginning, Woodson was overwhelmed by the response to his call. Negro History Week appeared across the country in schools and before the public. In the 20s was the decade of the new Negro, a name given to the post-World War I generation because of its rising racial pride and consciousness. Urbanization and industrialization had brought over 1 million African Americans from the rural South into big cities of the nation. The expanding Black middle class became participants and the consumers of Black literature and culture. Black history clubs sprang up and teachers demand materials to instruct their pupils, and progressive whites stepped forward and endorsed the efforts. Woodson and the Association of the Study of African American Life and History scrambled to meet the demand. They set a theme for the annual celebration and provided study materials, pictures, lessons for teachers, plays for historical performances, and posters of important dates and people. In the Yacub story, what is the important date and people? Provisioned with a steady flow of knowledge, high schools and progressive communities form Negro history clubs to serve the desire and history buffs to participate in the re-education of Black folks and nation. ASALH formed branches that stretch from coast to coast. In 1837, the urging of Mary McLeod Bethune, who you should have did it on rather than some damn NOI Yacub mythology. You should have did it on Mary McLeod Bethune. Woodson established the Negro History Bulletin. You could have did it on the Negro History Bulletin, which focused on the annual theme. As Black populations grew, mayors ensured Negro History Week proclamations in cities like Syracuse. Progressive whites joined Negro History Week and National Brotherhood Week. Like most ideas that resonate with the spirit of the times, Negro History Week proved to be more dynamic than Woodson or ASALH could control. So by the 30s, the 1930s, Woodson complained about the intellectual charlatans, which is what the bar method is. Black and white popping up everywhere. On Sonetta's channel, yes you did, seeking to take advantage of the public interest in Black history. Charlatan. He warned teachers not to invite speakers who had less knowledge than the students themselves. Try to tell that boy over there on the other channel. Increasingly, publishing houses that had previously ignored Black topics and authors rushed to put out books on the market and in their schools. Instant experts appeared everywhere. Look at you, girl. You an instant expert. And non-scholarly at that. Works appeared from mushroom presses. In America, nothing popular escapes their commercialization or eventual trivialization, and so Woodson, the constant reformer, had his hands full in promoting celebrations worthy of the people who had made the history. Well before his death in 1950, Woodson believed that the weekly celebration, not the study or celebration of Black history, would eventually come to an end. In fact, Woodson never viewed Black history as a one-week affair. He pressed for schools to use Negro History Week to demonstrate what students learned all year. Don't come into Black History Month talking about Yacub. You're supposed to come into Black History Month about something you've been learning all year. In the same vein, he established Black Studies Extension program to reach adults throughout the year. It was in the sense that Blacks would learn of their past on a daily basis that had looked forward to the time and the annual celebration would no longer be necessary. Generations before Morgan Freeman and other advocates of all-year commemorations, Woodson believed that the Black history was too important to America and the world to cram into a limited time frame. He spoke of a shift from Negro History Week to Negro History Year. In the 1940s, efforts began slowly within the Black community to explain the study of Black history in schools and Black history celebrations before the public. In the South, Black teachers often taught Negro history as a supplement to United States history. One early beneficiary of the movement reported to the teachers would hide Woodson's textbooks beneath their desks to avoid drawing the wrath of the principal. During the Civil Rights Movement, that's Black history. In the South, freedom schools, that's Black history. Incorporated Black history into the curriculum to advance social change. The Negro history movement was an intellectual insurgence that was a part of every large effort to transform race relations. So let's go to 1960s. The 60s had a dramatic effort on the study of the celebration of Black history. Before the decade was over, Negro History Week would be well on its way to becoming Black History Month. The shift to a month-long celebration began even before Woodson died. As early as 1940s, Blacks in West Virginia, Woodson's home state, where he often spoke of, see, this is Black history. I'm gonna run this back by you so you can understand what history sounds like. As early as 1940s, Blacks in West Virginia, Woodson's home state, where he often spoke, began to celebrate February as Negro History Month. In Chicago, a non-forgetting cultural activist, Frederick Hammurabi, started that Black history. This is Black history. What did he do? He started celebrating Negro History Month in the mid-1960s. Having taken an African name in the 30s, Hammurabi used his cultural center, the House of Knowledge, to fuse African consciousness with the study of the Black past. That's history. By the late 1960s, as young Blacks on college campuses became increasingly conscious in links of Africa, Black History Month replaced Negro Week as a quickened pace. Within the ASALH, younger intellectuals, part of the awakening, prodded Woodson's organization to change with the times. They succeeded. In 1976, 50 years after the first celebration, ASALH used its influence to institutionalize the shifts from a week to a month and from Negro history to Black history. Listen to this history, since the mid-1970s, every U.S. president has issued proclamations endorsing the ASALH's annual theme. What Carter G. Woodson would say about the continued celebration is unknown, but he would smile on all the honest efforts to make Black history a field of serious study and provide the public with thoughtful celebration. You need to consider that. That's Black history. Now, what I want to do is, since it was brought up already, since all these presidents do things to speak of Black History Month, we have a proclamation on National Black History Month right here from a briefing, the briefing room under Biden. During National Black History Month, we celebrate the legacy of Black Americans. Listen to what the President of the United States, let me get it right now. Briefing Room publishes. During National Black History Month, we celebrate the legacy of Black Americans whose power to lead, to overcome, and to expand the meaning of practice of American democracy has helped our nation become a more fair and just society. From the president's office, it says, we celebrate the legacy of Black Americans. The story of Yacub is not a story of Black Americans. The story of Yacub is a mythology. It is a myth that has nothing to do with history. The story of Yacub, based on what you said, I don't know your source, but I guarantee it's from the NOI. So based on their teachings, is about a big head guy from Mecca who was a member of the tribe of Shabazz. Where is Shabazz in America? That ain't Black history. This country was established upon the profound but simple idea that all people are created equal and should be treated equally throughout their lives. I don't need to go any further in this letter, as I have provided it for everyone to pay close attention to. We're talking Black history. The letter is from Joseph R. Biden Jr., the goddamn president. Moving on. History. History. Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing their central role in U.S. history. I'm going to run it back. The Bar Method, who says I'm arguing from ignorance. You don't know what history means. You thought mythology was history. You came on here and I'm going to run it back to you because right now you feeling a little offended. But Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing their central role in U.S. history. Also known as African American History Month, the event grew out of the Negro History Week. The brainchild of noted historian Carter G. Woodson and other prominent African Americans. Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Other countries around the world, including Canada and the United Kingdom, also devote a month to celebrating Black history. There's some images there. I'm not even going to get into that. I don't even want to get into the rest of this because I'm hard pressed. When I asked you to define history in private, that you would settle on a weak definition and think you was going to get away with it. So you tell me again, since I'm arguing from ignorance, how is this Black history?
Today I'm going to introduce a piece of African American mythology and religion. Yacub was the big head scientist. In this story, Yacub was a scientist that lived around 6,600 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub because he was said to have had a large head and he was very arrogant. When he was 6 years old, Yacub was playing with steel magnets and learned the law of attraction. This is where he got the idea of creating a new people that would attract others with tricks and lies and rule over the original black man. By the age of 18, he had graduated from all schools of knowledge in Mecca, and he hadn't forgotten his plan. He had learned that the black man contained two germs, a black germ and a brown germ. And he figured that he may be able to make a lighter complected people through selective breeding. I said selective breeding there, and I should have said grafting because they used the word grafting and it's significant later in like part two. So just remember grafting, but it's like selective breeding. Back to his plan. With 59,999 followers, he went to Patmos and began his plan. He had strict rules. He killed all the darker babies and created an all-brown race after 200 years. They were said to have gone and become the Japanese. And after 200 more years, there were a yellow race, which became the Chinese. And then finally after that, 200 more years, the white race was born. Unfortunately, Yacub died at the age of 150, so he never got to see the end of his plan. The white race was said to be born in such brutal conditions, lying and around murder and hatred for blacks, that it was said that it was born right into them, that they would be liars and murderers as well. The new race traveled to Mecca where they were tyrants, and they were exiled to Europe, as it was called then West Asia. Soldiers were put there to make sure that they didn't leave. They ate raw meat and lived like savages in caves. Moses came and tried to civilize them, making them wear clothes and live with people. He blew up 300 of them who seemed to not be able to cope with civil life. The devil's history is told in the Bible. That is what that story is. And they rose to power, and with the help of one Sir John Hawkins, was able to enslave the original man and bring him to America in 1555. I'm going to stop now so we get to the shores of the United States. This is just part of the doctrine of the NOI. It was brought to us by Father Muhammad. I showed some of the people who also follow this doctrine, like Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and most recently, Jay Electronica. We'll be doing a part 2 and 3 where we can learn more about the NOI as well this month in Black History. Enjoy this for now. Coming to you straight from Cleveland. You don't want to be missed. You don't want to be missed.
Okay, so again, where's the history here? Where's the history? Where is it? Where's the African American influence part? Okay, here's the African American influence part. When you start name dropping Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, you show them as following the doctrine of Farad Muhammad, right? How much do you know about Wallace Farad Muhammad? This ain't African American history. What you dealt with in this thing about the story of Yacub was mythology. This ain't history. And he damn sure ain't no damn scientist. He damn sure ain't no scientist. So the first day of Black History, we want to talk about the NOI origin stories and assimilate it into African American history when it is not. I'm only chastising you this once. Never do this again. Understand the difference between history and understand the difference between mythology. I laid out my argument and I gave you every reason why that Yacub's story is not Black history. Has nothing to do with Black history. Now, I put this in the chat and I'm not going to get into it because it's just going to regurgitate or repeat over and over things that I've already said about Negro History Week and how it got to a month, yada, yada, yada. But I suggest that you do something like this. See, this right here, what I just clicked on, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, you can find some Black history here. And you can do a nice video on some history that you find here. I guarantee you, you could talk about Woodson's home. This would be beautiful for Black History Month, right? There's other things that we could talk about. Publications, you can go into journals. Hey, get on here. Do some digging around. Learn something. It's Black History Month. Don't subject me to some Asiatic Black man bull jive. Don't do me like that. I don't want no part of that. Their whole thing is about Asiatic Black man. It ain't got nothing to do with history. So how did you come to the conclusion that the teachings of Yacub and African American origins are assimilated in one and is a part of Black history? Exactly. Black foolery at an all-time high. Listen, I swear to you, you did a beautiful job with putting the video together. You know what I'm saying? Your voice, you was real mellow. You know what I'm saying? You kept the phone sex voice going on. It was real attentive. The video was short, sweet. You got your point across. You summarized, all of that. But it just was not Black history. This ain't This is Black History Month. That's Asiatic Black Man Month over there in Mecca. That's what they teaching over there in Mecca. If they own that over there. And I don't even think they own that over there. There's nothing historical about what you said there. You mentioned some historical people, right? Elijah Muhammad, right? And Malcolm X. Two prominent people in the Black community that were part of our struggle. Now, a little history about them two would have been Black history. Or even Farrakhan. You mentioned you brought him up too, and Muhammad Ali. You brought him up too. But that origin story has no place in African American history. I just wanted to make that clear. So listen, the new Spills is out. Same tree, different branch publishing. Get your copy. Learn you something. But don't come around here talking about this NOI bull jive is Black history. It ain't got nothing to do with Black history. Learn what history is trying to teach you. There's a difference between history and mythology. There's also a great article on the difference between history and mythology. You should read that. Because there's a difference. I'm gonna give it to you in the chat because it was updated. It's been updated recently. And this will be good. I'm gonna put it on the screen here in just 1 second. Put it on the screen here, but I want to put this in the chat for everybody that's tapped in. Like, don't get mad at me either. Now you're saying that I misrepresent shit. Bro, I played the video 5 times, man. Come on, man. Every word, I let you get your word out. Listen, The major difference between mythology and history is that mythology does not have solid proof, whereas history can be proved with significant proof. We hear many myths, stories, and tales of ancient times from our elders. The studies of ancient times help us in the present. We often hear two standard terms of ancient times, mythology and history. This is the article for you. The significant difference between mythology and history is that mythology is based on natural and supernatural beliefs and aspects. On the other hand, historical facts are based on real life events that occurred in the past. The story of Yacub, the origin story of Yacub, is not based on real life events that occurred in our past. It ain't history. That's all I'm trying to say. You can get mad at me all you want. I'm not misrepresenting you. I played your video. We listened to it over and over. I tried to, in secrecy, right? In secrecy, I tried to say, hey, this ain't Black history. And he was like, yes, it is. And I was like, no, it's not. This is not Black history. What are we doing? He was like, yes, it is. I was like, listen, honeypot, this ain't Black history. You wanted to argue that it was. So read the source that I gave you so you can understand the definitions. And then you can understand that it is not Black history, and it should not have been your first bill for Black History Month about Yacub, a dude from Mecca, a fake dude from Mecca who is from the tribe of Shabazz. What can mythology be associated with as an academic discipline? Psychology, folklore, and anthropology. What can history be known as? History is used to create a link in a timeline between past events. History talks about the events that happened in the past, whereas mythology discusses supernatural gods, demons, humans, and much more. Come on, man. Don't say that I'm misrepresenting something because, okay, I'm misrepresenting something, right? That's what you said. You said, Sean, you misrepresenting something and you making up some stuff. Okay, all right. This says Black History Month, African American mythology, religion. This ain't even African American mythology or religion. Well, you can say religion. I'll give you that because they made that shit up.
Today, we introduce a piece of African American mythology and religion. Yacub is the big head scientist. In this story, Yacub was a scientist that lived around 6,600 years ago. He was born in Mecca and was part of the tribe of Shabazz. In this time, the world only had the original Black man on it. He was called Big Head Yacub because he was said to have had a large head and he was very arrogant. When he was 6 years old, Yacub was playing steel magnets and learned the law of attraction. This is where he got the idea of creating a new people that would attract others with tricks and lies and rule over the original Black man. By the age of 18, he had graduated from all those of knowledge in Mecca, and he hadn't forgotten his plan. He learned that the Black man contained two germs, a black germ and a brown germ. And he figured that he may be able to make a lighter complected people through selective breeding. I said selective breeding there, and I should have said grafting because they used the word grafting and it's significant later in like part 2. So just remember grafting, but it's like selective breeding. Back to his plan. With 59,999 followers, he went to Patmos and began his plan. He had strict rules. He killed all the darker babies and created an all-brown race after 200 years. They were said to have gone and become the Japanese. And after 200 more years, there were a yellow race, which became the Chinese. And then finally after that, 200 more years, the white race was born. Unfortunately, Yacub died at the age of 150, so he never got to see the end of his plan. The white race was said to be born in such brutal conditions, lying and around murder and hatred for blacks, that it was said that it was born right into them, that they would be liars and murderers as well. The new race traveled to Mecca, where they were tyrants, and they were exiled to Europe, as it was called then, West Asia. Soldiers were put there to make sure that they didn't leave. They ate raw meat and lived like savages in caves. Moses came and tried to civilize them, making them wear clothes and live with people. He blew up 300 of them who seemed to not be able to cope with civil life. The devil's history is told in the Bible. That is what that story is. And they rose to power, and with the help of one Sir John Hawkins, was able to enslave the original man and bring him to America in 1555. I'm going to stop now to where we get to the shores of the United States. This is just part of the doctrine of the NOI. It was brought to us by Farah Muhammad. I showed some of the people who also follow this doctrine, like Elijah Muhammad, Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and most recently, Jay Electronica. We'll be doing a part 2 and 3 where we can learn more about the NOI as well this month in Black History.
So how is this Black History? Because some prominent people followed the doctrine, it's Black History? No, because not all Black people follow the doctrine. So how is this Black History? I asked you to define it in private. You want to test my gangster? This ain't Black History. This ain't. Don't associate. Do not associate Yacub them with Black History. Nope. All Black people didn't follow the Black Panthers, but guess what? The Black Panthers are a part of Black history. Do you know why? Because of the contributions the Black Panthers made. The Black Panthers made contributions strengthening the movement. It's not African American mythology. This mythology is sacred to the pseudos who made it. And that's by sound done. I never said the NOI didn't have contributions. But if you talked about in your video the contributions that the NOI has had, then we can debate that too. Because the contributions that the NOI has had are very minimum. And the majority of them are for the NOI. It wasn't for Black people. So go run and get your sources together and put a video together about the contributions of the NOI in Black history. That would be Black history. This wasn't Black history. You can argue all you want. You can get in your feelings, talk all the junk you want to talk. I don't care nothing about that. None of that. None of that. None whatsoever. So you can cry me a river. I'm going to sit here and eat this Cinnabon cake in your face and listen to you cry in disgrace. Bars. Listen, man. You do not want to mess with me with this. Not today. Don't want to do this.
Hold up! You gonna get this work! You gonna get this work, nigga! I killed you. Hold up! You gonna get this work! Dom the Monko.
So how you want to play it? How you want to play it? Cause
hold up! You gonna get this work! You gonna get this work, nigga! I killed you. Hold up! You gonna get this work!
now that I made my point clear, my argument is done.
I don't listen to people that I can't learn from. So I don't listen to interviews of artists that don't have no value in what they say. I don't listen to music from people that I can't get no game from. Or,
are you the smartest one on your team?
Definitely not. I might be the dumbest one.
So we have a lot to do. We must do our business, what we have to do the job. And we are not against anybody. It's not to be against. It's to know more about yourself and more about humanity and try to bring contribution to the world. It's like that. So is this complex of inferiority is over. Is over. Like to say, I'm doing well, I'm okay, healing me. Heal what? You are not sick. Well, heal for what? You have to do the job. You must do the job. We do well in some in art, in music, in athletics. We do well. We must do the same in business. We do well. We must in politics. We do well. So we must do well in a pure intellect business. We must do well too. Why not? We must learn Medu nature. We must know African language, African philosophy, African spirituality, African culture, African values. Know that very well. Bring that on table. Be proud of that. Because if it's lost, humanity will lose something. So it's good for us to bring this kind of. If they don't study Buddhism, we'll lose Buddhism. They must study Buddhism. If they don't study Christianity, the Bible, we lose that too. So it's good to study. Everything is a part of humanity, is a legacy. So we study because it's part of humanity. It's not to say we are proud, we did, Kemet, they did. Now we have to build a new pyramid, that's all. New schools, new homes, new families, new community, not people in jail, nothing like that. Be there and do well and be positive. This is what we have to do now.
I offended anybody, please forgive me, I'm so not sorry. You won't smoke, just keep it between me and you to get that pronto. They said smoke in the album, now they kept it.